The camera's rolling.
Okay.
So whatever we say is going to be on there.
Okay.
No, I cut it out. I was using this to doing a podcast at the same time, but not today.
So this is going to be on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. When does it go on?
But we'll make a look at
What?
No. It's done. It's on there already.
No, this is
People ask me, oh yeah, when are you going to put it up? Well, when I get to the edit, I have to do an edit on it first. I have to put it in my computer in there, put it together, put the beginning and the ending, and then insert photos.
Gotcha.
And then I get it up, usually the same day.
I'll send you pictures later.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay. Welcome to Rick's Corner, brought to you by Old School Labs, the brand I trust and the only one I put my name to. Use my code DRASIN12 on the link below.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. The man, the myth, the legend. Now on with the show.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. I have a friend that came all the way here from New Jersey. His name is Vinny Galanti. Galante. I think I got it right.
Yep.
He's won several titles. He's got a story to tell that he was telling me in the kitchen that I find pretty interesting about his beginning of his training. And he's in good shape. He's 92 years old. He's a year older than me. No, kidding. But I want to hear the story about your first workout and the guy that sent you the routines and all that with the photos.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I got involved in, I think it was 1983. And after 3 months of working out, I decided to compete. Mm-hmm. And I was 16. I took dead last. But I knew that was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And the day I walked into Billy's gym in Bayonne, New Jersey, changed my life forever.
Yeah.
And you know, at the time in the 80s, you know, my mother and father didn't really understand it, but they were okay with it because I was off the streets. And Jersey City was a little tough. Got a lot of fights. Some kids that I grew up with, you know, are not around today.
Yeah.
And so it, you know, my life changed the day I walked into Billy's gym. And eventually, shortly after that, I met Gus Salerno. He recently just passed away, but he was my first influence in bodybuilding, where he took me to another level of training. And unfortunately, Gus had a situation, and he ended up in jail for a little while. But the gym that I worked in, his wife was an aerobics instructor, and I was working the front desk. And she said, Gus will help you train for your upcoming contest. I said, how is he going to do that? She was, well, they're going to take Polaroid pictures. I'm like, all right, Polaroid picture. And every Friday she'd come back to me with a new diet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like a little unorthodox, but it was the only thing I knew. Yeah. This is my first time ever a coach, if you will. And he never told me what to do, except it was on paper.
Right. So
followed a diet, followed a training. And his philosophy was every 2 weeks we would change the workout up. And he believed in, for my physique, my type of physique, moderate weight, higher reps would work. And he was right, because throughout my career, if I ever had spurts of lifting heavy, I couldn't get out of bed in the morning, in the sense of, you know, being like, it would be a hard time to like recuperate.
Did you ever, when you first started, did you start heavy?
I knew right away that heavy weights didn't work for me. Yeah. And I wasn't a guy who could handle heavy weight, but I was a guy that produced a physique from light and moderate weight. So it was like, what road do I go down? I looked more like a Frank Zane than an Arnold. You know, everybody back in the day, you know, back in the 80s was, want to look like Arnold, be big like Arnold. Yeah. And I was fortunate that my father really enjoyed nutrition, and he was the first one to actually always talk about the importance of protein, and we would talk about, you know, the importance of juicing your fruits and vegetables and everything like that. Mm-hmm. So I got like an early set of nutrition, really early, an experience of nutrition early on from my dad.
That's the whole key.
Yeah, and I benefited from it, you know, for early age, and it was a road that I think I cut a lot out. There were a lot of guys in the beginning, have to figure a few things out.
Yeah.
And I had them in front of me already, not really realizing I had it in front of me, but it was working.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate. As a teenager, I placed second in the Teen USA in '86, and I had a nice career. I met a lot of great people along the way who taught me business end of it, from Sean Ray to Monica Brandt.
This is what year?
Through the '90s now.
You see, back in the '60s when I started, before I went to Venice, the nutrition thing wasn't really known.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knew. You just drink a lot of milk and eat a lot of meat.
Yeah. Well, a lot of guys today try to mimic what you guys did, but if you Google something, it's somebody's opinion of what you guys did.
Yeah. Well, no one really knows.
Yeah.
But that was when I lived up north, and then when I moved down to Venice, I got on the diet that everybody else was doing, with the eggs, meat, and cheese, and cottage cheese, and all that, and no carbs. And so that's what made the difference. But you're right, because there's so much out there that people say I'll do something, they'll correct me. Oh, that's not true. They're 20 years old. How do you know it's not true? You weren't there when I was there.
Yeah.
There's no way you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's your opinion, which means nothing to me. But there's a lot of that.
Well, what I find interesting, when I started, I knew guys like you, Arnold, obviously, Harold Poole.
Harold Poole had a great body.
Yeah, yeah. To Ken Waller, to all those guys. Not just because they were in the movies in Pump and Iron, but I was a fan of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And the guys in the gym that I went to, Billy's gym, they taught me, about the history of bodybuilding.
Right.
And if you talk to guys today, I think they only can go far back as to Sean Ray.
If you ask some of the guys today, the younger group, who's Joe Gold, they don't even know.
Right.
If there was no Joe Gold, there'd be no Gold's Gym.
Right.
If there wasn't us handful of guys right there with Joe Gold and Weider's magazine, bodybuilding wouldn't be where it is today.
Yeah, I remember the first time I met Joe Weider. It was after I won the USA in 1993, and at the time, my wife came in, and she says, "Don't go off your diet. Weider's office just called, and on Thursday you're going to go do a photo shoot."
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking like, "Do you think Joe Weider would show up?" She's like, "No, he's a businessman. He's not going to be there."
He's there for everything.
He was there.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing. And I got to meet Lou Ferrigno that day, because I think it was like, that was the year, or maybe the second time he was coming back, making a comeback for the Olympia. So I got to meet him, and when Lou Ferrigno walked in, I remember him carrying a gym bag, and I remember the gym bag looked like a tiny little purse.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah, Joe was a good guy. I mean, he has a really distinctive voice, and he's on every photo shoot. His hands-on at the art department with anything else that he does, and that's what became so successful.
Well, he knew business.
He knew, and when I try to tell people that when Gold's Gym was before Joe Weider got involved in it, it was a handful of guys with Joe Gold and Draper and a few guys, and then Arnold came, and then a few other guys came, and then Weider came down one Sunday, and we all went to lunch, and he sent some photographers in, Artie Zeller for one, and started putting all the pictures in his magazine. So when people around the world would read Muscle and Fitness, say, "Oh my God, Gold's Gym, that's the Mecca body. Look at all the guys that train there," not realizing, you've been in there, the first one?
I was never in the first one, no.
It's as big as a postage stamp.
Really?
Yeah, it's small. But it had the atmosphere, it had the ambiance, it had everything you wanted to do to be a champion. So people kept coming from around the world to see everybody and hang out in the gym. And it got so crowded you could hardly move in there. But that's why it got where it was. But Weider's principles were okay. I mean, he learned a lot of his stuff from Draper and Arnold.
Joe Weider did.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I mean, he was never a bodybuilding champion.
Right.
Some of those pictures you see of him, I don't know what they did to him, but they're not exactly him.
Oh.
But it did put it on the map, and it did make it what it was. So then you started entering contests, and what have you won?
I was very fortunate. I had a great career. I won 4 national titles. I won, even before that, I won my weight class in the Mr. New Jersey, my weight class in the East Coast, which were big shows in our area. And I won the Junior USA, I won the Junior Nationals, I won the USA. And in the Nationals itself, I was 2nd to 5th 9 times. I could have went to college twice. And, so I thought, hey, I'm done after that. And it was right after 9/11. And you can imagine being in New Jersey and all the chaos and the sadness and everything. I had like a few weeks to go for the Nationals, and I should have backed out of it. But that time frame for me was, I placed third 2 years in a row in 99 and 2000. So I thought, this is my time. I'm not going to leave now. I got to go.
No, you're right there. You're right there.
So, but the stress got to me, all the friends we lost and all the things that was going on. And I just couldn't get my head into it. And I took, I think, 13th that year at Plymouth. And I was inspired from 9/11 to open up my business, which I had, which I closed actually a year and a half ago. So I had it a long time. And I opened up a personal training studio. And I thought I'd never compete again. And then around 2005, bug bit me a little bit. And I did the nationals again. I took 5th. And then 2006 I took off. 2007 came back in the Masters Nationals. And I wasn't feeling good when I was going into the show. And I was 40 that year. So I thought, oh, it must be, I'm 40 now, maybe this is what happens. But
yeah, life changes.
I took 2nd in the contest, and actually the day when I got home, I wasn't feeling well, and I developed Bell's palsy.
Oh boy!
Whole side of my face looked like I thought I had a stroke.
Oh, I know 3 or 4 people that have that right now.
No, it's horrible. It's horrible. I had to manually close my eyes to go to sleep, and blinking was almost impossible, and my eyes were watery all the time. So that lasted a little while, and then that subsided, and I got my health back. Couldn't tell you why that happened.
I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah, don't know. My dad had it. One of my nieces had it, so maybe it runs in the family. So then I really buckled down for the 2008 Masters Nationals, thinking in my head that I would do this show, make an impression for the judges, and then get to the Nationals again. But I got to the show, I win the whole thing, I win the overall, and I remember, I think it was Jim Mannion or Steve Weinberger, and they said, what's your first pro show you're going to do? And I'm like, no, I'm going to do the Nationals in November. They're like, no, you just turned pro. I'm like, no, and it wasn't. I just wasn't clicking in my head, because for me to turn pro was the Nationals, and so here I do the show as a warm up in a sense, and I win it. I didn't think in my head I'd actually win the whole thing. I didn't think, because you had to win the overall at the time. Yeah, there were no pro cards given out for second place in a class, so I won the overall, get my pro card, and then I did a few pro shows. It was okay. I was burnt out by the time I got to that part of my career. I didn't have the energy. I just couldn't muster up the energy, and I just really need to focus on business and my gym. And I didn't do as well as I wanted to. I mean, I think the best I did was 5th in one of the pro shows, and then I stopped. I got into 1 year powerlifting. I really enjoyed it. Kind of like got me back to the center in the sense of like the enjoyment of lifting weights.
Powerlifting's fun.
It was awesome. I met a lot of great guys. I was with Universal Nutrition for 18 years.
I used to write for them.
You did?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
I don't remember the lady's name, but she sent me all these supplements, and they paid me, I don't know, so much a month.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know that.
A long time ago.
Okay.
I don't think she's even there anymore.
All right. Claudia?
Nope.
Okay. So I just I did my thing and tried powerlifting, and then shortly after that, just out of my own stupidity, tried to lift heavy one day, heavier for me, and all the weights were going up nice and smooth. It was like it was a day where things didn't hurt.
I know those days. Everything falls into place.
And then I went a little heavier because the weight I wanted to use was being used. So I said, well, I got to go heavier. So I picked up the 90s. I'm doing chest press with them. And I know for some people hearing that, like 90 is not heavy, right? But, here I am. I think I was 46 at the time. And I was never, like I say, I was never a real strong guy. So I knew what I was, and I knew what I wasn't. And I never tried to go against the grain. Did my ego get in the way sometimes over the years? Sure. I think it all does.
I think it does for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I knew where I stood with types of training work.
It's really funny. Albert Beckles trains with me over here. And Albert's 87 now.
Wow.
And I've seen him, and he's got a back issue. He's on cane and all that. But I've seen him within the past year put up to 80s or 85s for dumbbell presses.
Awesome.
I know. At his age.
Wow.
Yeah, he gets mad at himself when he does. Yeah, you got to lift these things up. He's
I would love to meet him. That's pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, I tore my shoulder that day and ended up having 9 screws in the shoulder. And I didn't work out for a year. And then I started, putzing around a little bit. But the whole year, this shoulder was aching me.
It's taking the compensation of that one.
And then I tore this one.
Yeah.
So I have 9 in this one and 5 screws in this one.
That must have messed your workouts up.
A little bit. You know, I was depressed. I wasn't eating well. I got out of shape. You know, and then just put one foot in front of the other one day. That's it. I'm going to eat a bowl of oatmeal today instead of eating, bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, because that's where I went with it.
I think it's hard to eat wrong. I mean, I go out with people to eat, and I eat like the big burger patty and the eggs and the cottage cheese, and sometimes tuna, sometimes chicken breast, whatever.
Right.
But I can't sit down and feel good about ordering a bag of fries. I'll eat 1 or 2 of somebody else's, but I won't order a whole bag. I just don't feel right doing it, and I don't want to get myself out of shape at my age too, because
Sure.
it doesn't take long.
You know, it was an experience for me because it helped me learn training people. Because I got to a point where I wasn't in shape, and I lost my discipline.
Yeah.
And I had to relearn my discipline. And many times I found motivation, but if you don't have discipline, the motivation fizzles out real fast.
I've said this quite a few times. You know where discipline starts?
Where?
Making your bed in the morning.
Making your bed in the morning?
Once you make your bed, everything falls into place. It just does, and I don't know why it is. I learned that in the Army.
Oh.
I make my bed, I make my breakfast, I get my stuff ready, I get dressed, I go to the gym. That's my discipline. And it's the same routine every morning. I don't deviate from it unless I'm really sick. But,
Right.
You know, even with this injury, I've gone every day on a cane and on a walker. So, well, you're here. I'm there, but it's hard.
Right.
It takes discipline.
Absolutely. And I had to relearn it. And I just, now I just turned 52. And I'm back full time, in full swing of training.
Yeah.
But I've had to redo everything. I can't train the way I used to. I have to train slower. I have to train more volume, and I have to take longer warm-ups, and I have to take more rest time.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because a lot of guys ask me. I get a lot of emails from all of you out there, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. I want to train again. I don't know what to do, where to begin. I've never been big on warming up. I don't know why. I put 135 on the bar for bench. That's my warm up, and I go up from there 225, and that's it. That's just my first set.
Even today?
Well, I don't do benches anymore. I do machines, but even today, yeah.
Okay.
I just don't know what to do for a warm up. I can sit and stretch and do all this stuff, and all of a sudden, a half hour's gone by. Shit, I could have been out of here.
Right. Well, for me, it's I've had these injuries to the point where if I don't warm up, I can't.
No, I mean, you're right. I'm not right about that at all. I probably should. I think everybody should warm up a little bit. But the training, does it change? Yeah, I believe it does. I mean, I'm not doing 400-pound bench presses anymore, and I'm doing the heavy dumbbells and all. I use machines, but the machines nowadays, as long as you have a muscle resistance, it works.
Absolutely. A lot of people would say, and still do, that you can't build a physique, a powerful, strong-looking physique, big muscles with machines.
Yes, you can.
So now I'm forced to do it, and oddly enough, I'm like a little bit better than I used to be. I'm not the same. I'm different.
I can explain that.
It's a look.
Well, here's the thing. Muscle is a muscle. It works upon resistance. All right, so you're using heavy weights that's resisting, it's building cells and getting bigger and bigger. The muscle doesn't know if it's a weight or a machine, it's just resisting.
Right, exactly.
So if you go on a machine and you put a certain amount of weight and you do resistance and you go heavier and heavier, that muscle is going to respond and grow because it has no choice. You haven't given it a choice. It has to grow. So the machines nowadays are pretty well designed so that, like they come together now, not pressing where it used to be straight out. And they're just all different and they work. But you've got to be able to put the weight on and do it. You just don't go through the motions.
Correct. I think what the machine takes out is the ancillary muscles.
Yes, because you have the balance.
You don't have the balance. You don't have to coordinate.
Yeah, it does do that if you're laying down on the bench, you're doing dumbbells, and you got to jiggle them around a bit. But it's okay. You can work those somehow. I found ways of using machines that aren't the way it was designed to be used, but it works for me.
I understand.
They have a seated tricep machine that the handles it. You sit on the pad and you go forward.
And you push them down?
Yeah.
Like a dip?
Well, it goes out this way. So what I did is I lift my elbows up higher and I do them out this way. It's like doing a French press behind my neck with the machine.
Okay.
I just don't do it the way it says on the thing.
I actually take that same one. So if you're doing it this way, I'll take the handles and push it down, turn it around, and do like almost like a dip.
That machine's not made that way, but I like that idea. I had Doug Brignoli on. We were talking about muscles working because all muscles pull, none of them push. People think that your muscles push, but they don't push, right? Are you following me on that?
Okay, go ahead.
Look, when you're doing a bench press, Are you pushing the weight up? It looks like you are, but you're basically your triceps contracting and pulling it up, pulling your arm up so that the weight goes out.
I understand.
Okay. And your pecs are pulling in. So that's what's doing on the bench press. It's pulling the muscle. If you do seated lat pulls, your lat's working. If you do standing presses, your triceps are pulling.
Correct.
And your delts. So it's the push-pull thing is not like you think, although it's a good terminology if you want to use that. What?
You know, today there's a lot of talk about bro science and real science, right? So when you guys paved the way for my generation, years ago, and we never had debates like this. There was no such thing.
No.
You trained and you did an exercise, and if it didn't work for you, you didn't do it.
Right.
And if it worked, fantastic. All more power to you. I get guys all the time like messaging me on Instagram saying you're all bro science, and I laugh. I'm like, what does that even mean?
I never quite knew what that meant.
Because let me tell you, I know a lot of competitors who follow real science and they don't get very far.
Yeah.
And then a lot of guys who just train and skip all the stuff and try to obviously do it smart. Like Dorian Yates was a smart trainee. Lee Labrada was intelligent, and they paved the way for, I think, another era of training.
Yeah.
But I don't think they sat there and bashed anyone, or who.
No, the scientific way of doing something it's not. You can't do it by science and numbers. You got to feel the weight. You got to feel what it does. But like we said on one of my shows, if you take a bench press, a straight bar, and you're pressing out, how much pec are you actually getting? If you put your hand there and you're pushing out, you don't really feel the pec. But if you take a dumbbell and you go out and you come in, your pec's pulling in.
I never gravitated towards a barbell. It didn't work for me early on. I even as a teenager, I was not impressed with me trying to impress. I wasn't motivated to impress anyone in a gym. So, I had a lot of friends who could bench 315, and, I struggled with 185. It took a lot for me to get to 225.
It doesn't mean their pecs are any bigger, though.
Yeah, so, I was like, well, who cares? I don't care about my father used to teach me, don't be impressed by how many initials somebody has after their last name. Be impressed by how they treat you.
Yeah.
And so I applied that to the gym. I wasn't impressed with how many numbers a person could put up. I just was impressed with what physique they could build.
Have you ever done behind the neck presses?
Yeah, but I stopped because it wasn't a comfortable thing for me.
I'll tell you why. People think they're going to get big shoulders from behind the neck presses, but if you're going to take the weight behind you and press, you're really just working the front delt.
Yeah.
You're not working the lateral or the back delt at all. It doesn't go into it. Those motions are done with laterals, movements out, movements back.
Right.
So it's a waste of time to do it. Plus, it throws your shoulders in such a bind you can have a shoulder injury.
Oh, well, I didn't have my shoulder injury that way, but when I see guys doing that today, and they're just like, oh, it's an injury waiting.
They don't get it.
No.
And then they do the standing presses too, which I used to do a lot of, but it really destroyed my shoulders. I just still think the dumbbells are better and laterals are better just to work the delt.
The one thing that I find today that's way different, and a lot of people say you're crazy, it makes no sense, but the weights are covered with rubber, and it's an 80-pound dumbbell that's covered in rubber is not as heavy as a cast iron 80-pound dumbbell.
It doesn't feel the same.
It doesn't feel the same, and it's like one of those things where a pound of feathers and a pound of bricks. It's a pound, but it feels different, and it feels a lot, different on the muscles. So I try to go to gyms that have more iron, a cast iron, metal.
That's old school.
Yeah,
but
I like that.
I know about the rubber thing. I don't like it at all. My gym doesn't have them over at Gold's North Hollywood. They have the old dumbbells, which I like so much better. You got to tighten them every once in a while. They get loose, but so what?
Yeah, I don't care.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of wasted movements that I see the younger generation doing today, and I don't know why they're doing it. These trainers have them sitting on the floor doing dumbbell presses, sitting on the ground,
I have
and pressing overhead.
I have an answer. I think I have the answer for that.
Yeah.
So when I started, there was no other outlet.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody went to karate or something, but that was it really. You had your share of experiences in the ring with wrestling, and I think as men we're alpha, and we want to show what we can do, and we gravitate towards that stuff. Today, with MMA and mixed martial arts and octagon and CrossFit, you always saw that guy. There was always that guy that wrote everything down, and he never ever got anywhere. Didn't look any different. Maybe a rare on occasion you'd see a guy maybe growing, but the guy who calculates everything from workout to workout, those guys gravitated towards CrossFit. And today, you'll see it's a different school. It's a different thinking.
Yeah.
You know?
It is, because I go in and I pick 4 exercises that I like for chest or whatever body part. And I know 4 exercises, 4 sets, 16 sets, sometimes 5, so it's 20 sets. And those sets I feel. I don't like to wait more than 10 or 15 seconds between sets.
Well,
because I can't do cardio with my knee like this right now, so I try to make it a cardio weight workout.
I understand.
And I use a medium weight, medium to heavy, not really light. I've tried the light for 20 reps, like you said. Does nothing for me. I feel like a little peanut in the bicep when it doesn't even get a pump.
Okay.
The minute I drop it down to 7 reps and add weight, and then I start to feel it.
Some workouts I stick with 8 reps.
Yeah.
And some workouts I stick with 12 to 15.
Yeah.
Depends on the day.
12 to 15 is okay, but when you get to 20, 25, like some people, that's way too much.
Like the other day, like the last, like, and now where I come from in Jersey, there's this big thing with the no days off. Never take a day off. And I'm like, this is ludicrous. You need a day off. And when I tell people, yeah, no, I'm not training today, I'm off. They're like, off? Like, what are you doing? Are you doing cardio? I'm like, no, off for me is off. I don't train. So the last, I think Friday, Saturday and Sunday of last week, I had the worst workouts. Horrible workouts. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going out to California. I'm going to take Monday off, Tuesday off, and Wednesday off, and I'll train on Thursday. Well, when I woke up on Tuesday, I felt fantastic. So I went to the gym and had an amazing shoulder workout.
It has to be instinctive. I took the day off because my leg was hurting. I thought, I've been every day. I'll take a day off. I don't mind. And then I'll go in tomorrow and I'll feel fine. But I realize more and more as I get older, a day off about every 3rd or 4th day doesn't really bother me. It's the best thing I can do.
Yeah, I personally need a day off after 3 days.
Yeah.
Because I do try to train at a high intensity, and I try to, I try to always train with younger guys, so I could challenge myself. And on Saturday of last week, I trained legs with 2 of the guys that I helped train for shows, and it was I think it was the first time I actually said to them, I don't have anything today. I'm gassed already. And they were looking at me like, what's going on?
If I train with younger guys, those are guys in their 70s.
Yeah, that's funny.
So what's your plans for the future?
So I competed for the first time last year in a very long time. And I tried doing the the new division, classic physique, classic bodybuilding, whatever you call it. And because I was down in size, I thought I would actually, get in shape for it. But I started to grow into the contest, and I was struggling at about 192 pounds, and I was keeping my size, and I was trying to get to 185, which I did, but it made me look small and skinny. I ended up in 5th place, which I was fine with, but that's not the road for me. I'm going to just forget about the scale, and I'm going to do one of the master shows later in the year.
Yeah, you can't go by the scale. I mean, I weigh myself once in a while to see if I'm holding water because I'm on a diuretic.
Right.
That's the only reason I would use the scale. I just how my clothes fit. What's your feeling on working abs?
I hardly ever train them.
Okay.
When I'm in the car and I'm hand on the steering wheel, I just squeeze my stomach side to side.
Okay.
And that's my warm-up going to the gym, and I do it at the end. I feel like your abs are a muscle.
Yep.
And your abs can grow just like anything else.
Yep.
And I've always been known for having a small waist.
Yeah.
And I used to say to guys, what you see in the magazines is just a selling tool for a program.
That's all it is.
Guys don't really train their abs. Like, no, Arnold did crunches. This guy did crunches. And I'm like, I don't really believe they did. So
well, he did crunches. We all did crunches with the rope, with the cable.
Right.
Like 100 reps, but that's it. I can't train my abs like that. They get too thick.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. When I mean, do I attack abs? No. Do I train them? Yes.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
Different.
It's all diet.
I exercise them.
It's all diet.
Yeah, all diet. And I've tried all the diets too. I've tried them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did keto, did you guys call it keto?
No, it's high protein, low carb.
High protein, low carbs. It's funny because today everything's a name today.
Well, keto, high protein, low carb was probably around in the 40s and 50s with Steve Reeves and guys like that. That's how they ate. And then science got a hold of it, and you had the Beverly Hills diet,
right.
the Atkins diet, the keto diet. There's so many names for it, and they basically took the same diet as the bodybuilders and said scientists have made this diet for you, it works. Well, they haven't. The bodybuilders created the diet. Give them credit.
Absolutely. They won't do that.
No, they're not going to do that. They think they're all geniuses, and in the meantime, none of them are in shape.
Yeah.
But that's the diet that always works. Now, that someone said, how do you train on no carbs? I don't know. You just do.
Well, you get your energy from the fat.
Yeah.
I had Dave Palumbo helped me for the 2008 Masters Nationals, and I did his diet, his exact diet that he printed out online, and there was no deviation. And everybody was saying to me, it's a cookie cutter diet. I said, you guys look at this. It's another term, cookie cutter diet. Why don't you give it a chance first?
Yeah.
So I did it, and I was in one of the best shapes of my life. I followed to a T.
Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah, and unfortunately, right now I can't do it. When I was a baby, I had pyloric stenosis, and they opened me up, had to reconstruct my stomach, and they don't know. I'm actually going for an upper endoscopy in a few weeks, and they're not sure if that is causing me to have some issues right now with acid reflux, and I have a hard time like swallowing chicken and rice. So if I do anything, if I cut my carbs out and put fats in, I'm a mess. Even if I take Prilosec, I'm talking about this. I'm 52 now.
I get it. I understand. You gotta be careful. Even on the antibiotics, I make my stomach turn upside down.
But you know what I say, Rick? I really truly believe Tom Platz was one of my, in a way, a guy that when you talk about science and being smart about things, I always gravitated towards listening to what he had to say. And it's true about having the mindset, because you could do everything right, and if you're unfocused, you're not going to produce a good product. But if you have everything correct, everything's together, you're focused, you're driven, you're disciplined, and you believe in what you're doing, truly believe in it, you're going to get a great product.
It's like lacing your shoes. You don't miss one eyelet.
Right. Simple.
I just came up with that.
I like it.
Where can people reach you on the internet if they want to write to you or talk to you?
I'm on mostly Instagram at Vinny, VINNY _Galanti, GALANTI.
Well, I'm certainly glad you came here.
I appreciate being here, man. It's an honor to meet you, and I actually was nervous coming here, meeting you and talking to you. It's cool.
I'm nervous too.
No, I'm good.
No, I have a long history, and when I go, people know me, and I just want to share what I know with other people and make them happy and put a smile on their face.
Absolutely. Saying that, one of the things that has helped me was a long, long time ago. I felt silly talking about bodybuilding to everybody, and then I sat and had lunch with Chris Cormier, and he's rattling off all these names, and I said, wow, you know a lot. And he says, I'm a fan of bodybuilding, and he was proud of it. And I'm like, I'm going to be proud of what I am.
I think everybody started as a fan.
Absolutely.
I got to close this out, but my biggest thing growing up was Bill Pearl.
Okay.
When I saw Bill, I said, yeah, that's what I want to be. And then I saw Larry Scott. And I saw Larry Scott in person in Santa Monica, and I was like 17 years old, and I saw his tries and his bicep walking around, and he's been training 10 years. I can't wait till I'm training 10 years. And I went to 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And I tore a tricep. I tore both quads. I've had some injuries, so, things go the other way sometimes. But I just ran across the video. It's on my Facebook of him doing the Scott curls. And actually a video of him talking. He's much smaller, but he's showing how to use this and do the dumbbells. And he says, it's okay to cheat my curls. And interesting.
Yeah.
He had good arms.
Oh, he had like a perfectly round ball.
Yeah. It's a good little video to watch if you get on my Facebook.
Cool.
But everybody is a fan. I was a fan of his, and I was a fan of Reg Park, Harold Poole. Some of these older guys that they had the big traps and the big delts and shoulders. And they look great.
Yeah. It's inspiring, and one of the sad things about today is you go to one of the. I'm not going to mention his name, but I went up to a guy today at Gold's. I was training this morning, and we knew each other's face. So
in Venice?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I walked over to him and I said, you look great. And he never asked one thing about me. Why are you out here? Like, he knows I'm not from California. And I think that camaraderie is lost.
It is lost.
It's lost.
Yes, and a lot of the young guys, they give me respect at the gym, but they're in another world with their headsets. We've talked about this a million times, and they don't communicate. And different world today.
Yep.
And so is wrestling. I mean, it's a different world today.
Yeah.
When I had that ring out there and I was training people, it was old school style, like with Blassie and Moto and all those guys. That's what I liked about wrestling. It was
That's awesome.
Telling a story with the old guys that you didn't know if it was real or not, and you almost became a believer yourself in the ring when they'd stiff you so hard. So, but it's changed. It's like a whole commercial thing now, like a circus.
Yeah.
But everything changes.
Yep.
We just got to be the best we can be.
Absolutely. I'm going to be the best 52-year-old I can be. And I hope if some guys over 40 and 50 follow me to get inspired from what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's good to inspire them and work with them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vinny.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We're going to take this and we're going to go into the other room and put it in my editing.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed the video brought to you by Old School Labs. Use my discount code DRASIN12 on the link below at oldschoollabs.com.
Hey everyone, now you can have the Gold's Gym logo drawn by me, the artist Rick Drasin, personalized and made out to you and signed by me to frame and put on your gym wall or wherever you see fit to do so. It's a piece of bodybuilding history. It will never be duplicated again. It's the largest selling icon t-shirt logo in the world, and I'm the guy that drew it, and I will draw it for you. Just go to my website, rickdrasin.com, and order there. You can pay through PayPal, and it'll be sent out right away. And be sure to watch Rick's Corner for all the videos on bodybuilding, nutrition, fitness, pro wrestling, and anything that suits your interest as far as getting physically fit and being the best you can be from the golden era of bodybuilding.
It's Rick Drasin. He's the equalizer, baby. See you next time.